Hello and welcome to United Report. This is your home for all the latest Manchester United news, match updates, transfer stories, and in-depth analysis. Stay connected and never miss a moment. Subscribe now to stay ahead with everything happening at Old Trafford. Ruben Amorin has made it clear if Manchester United want him gone, he'll walk. No payout, no drama, just honesty. After United's crushing Europa League final loss to Spurs and their worst ever Premier League season, Amorim says it's about faith now. If the board or fans feel I'm not the right guy, I'll leave tomorrow, he said. But he's not quitting, and he still believes he's the man to lead the rebuild. Luke Shaw echoed that support, admitting this season hasn't been good enough, and praising Amorim for seeing the bigger picture both on and off the pitch. United are at a crossroads, and the next move could define their future. Ruben Amorim said he will leave Manchester United without a payoff if the board feel he is not the right man for the job. Amorim said he still believes he is the right man to lead United, despite last night's agonising Europa League final defeat to Spurs and the club's worst ever Premier League season. The 40-year-old Portuguese coach claimed now is the time to keep faith with him, despite such a poor season. But he said he would have no issue if United decide it is time to part ways. I have nothing to show to the fans, so at this moment it's a little bit of faith, said Amorim. So let's see. I'm always open. If the board and the fans feel I'm not the right guy, I will go the next day, without any conversation about compensation. But I will not quit. I'm still really confident in my job, and as you can see, I will not change anything in the way I do things. I am always really honest. But I'm not going to talk about the future. Tonight we need to deal with the pain of losing this match. It was clear we were the better team, but we managed not to score again. The guys tried everything to win the game, and I think we were better than the opponent. United defender Luke Shaw admitted this season has not been good enough and said it's hard to put into words, but for a club like Manchester United, it's not really good enough. All of us have to question ourselves tonight. Are we good enough to be here? Because this club, this season, it's not acceptable. We know that, and it's down to us. It's really tough to take. It's hard to say anything else, really. Apart from that, we have to look at ourselves. Something has to change. I think a lot of times this season we've gone into games not believing that we can win. That's why Ruben is 100% the right person. He knows and he can see day in and day out at the club, not just on the pitch but off the pitch, around the club. The standards, the mindset, he sees everything. He knows what he needs to change. Tensions flared in Bilbao. Moments after Tottenham edged Manchester United 1-0 in the Europa League final, Harry Maguire had to be held back following a heated exchange with Christian Romero. The two defenders, who had already clashed late in the game, reignited their feud on the pitch as staff rushed to separate them. Romero walked away with a winner's medal and a few words for Maguire. Spurs finally end a 17-year trophy drought, while United are left in frustration, yet again. Brennan Johnson scored the only goal, and the celebrations, loud. But the post-match drama, even louder. Manchester United star Harry Maguire had to be separated from Christian Romero moments after the Europa League final. Maguire's side were beaten by Romero's Spurs in a tight game at San Mamés, with tensions boiling over after the final whistle. Romero passed Maguire on the Bilbao pitch before approaching and embracing United right-back Diogo Dalot. Maguire then walked back towards his opponent and began gesticulating in apparent reference to an earlier incident during the game. It was then that staff members began to intervene. Maguire continued pointing and speaking, while Romero appeared to reply to his fellow centre-back. The pair had clashed in an on-field incident during the latter stages of the game as well. Maguire was penalised for a foul on Romero, picking up a yellow card in an incident which saw players from both teams get involved. Ultimately, it was Romero who finished the game on the winning side, with Brennan Johnson scoring the only goal of the game as Spurs beat United to win the competition and earn a spot in next season's Champions League. Romero, a World Cup winner with Argentina, now has another winner's medal to add to his collection. "I'm so happy right now," match winner Johnson told TNT Sports after the game. "This season has not been good at all. Not one of us players care about that now. This club has not won a trophy for 17 years. It means so much. All the fans get battered, we get battered for not winning a trophy. We had to get the first one, I'm so happy. Ever since I came here, it has been Tottenham, good team but can't get it done. But we got it done. He played 3 in midfield, and particularly in the first half that overpowered Man United. Second half, there was a case of holding on and hanging in there. They defended like Trojans. Hopefully, it's a stepping stone for more. Former United defender Rio Ferdinand, meanwhile, recognised Romero's importance to the result. Getting those defenders back was critical for this team, he said. Christian Romero and Mickey van der Ven wanted to defend that penalty area. They were not bothered about Harry Maguire being up, they enjoyed the battle. They defended for their lives and they got what they needed. Tottenham Hotspur's 17-year trophy drought is over after Spurs emerged victorious from the battle of the Premier League underachievers in Bilbao. Brennan Johnson smuggled the ball over the line 3 minutes before half-time for the only goal of a desperately poor Europa League final in which Manchester United failed to inspire. The closest Ruben Amorim's side came to a goal was through a Rasmus Højlund header, which was superbly cleared off the line by Mickey van der Ven, who stood tall as Spurs delivered a trophy to the delight of their often criticised manager, Ange Postecoglou. The Australian wore a delighted grin as he lived up to his promise of winning a trophy in his second season and earned Champions League qualification, with United left crestfallen and without European football of any kind next season. There was a fairly frantic feel to the opening proceedings in Bilbao, where the do-or-die nature of the game, a match which would serve as a season-saver for the winner and condemn the loser to one of their worst campaigns in living memory, was leading the sides 16th and 17th in the Premier League toward a somewhat manic approach. Johnson was denied by Andre Onana from a tight angle, before the Welshman's teammate Richarlison had a shot blocked. At the other end, Guglielmo Vicario flapped at a Bruno Fernandes corner, with Amad Diallo picking up the loose ball and flashing a fierce drive across the face of goal and beyond the United attackers. That early promise then largely disappeared from the game though, and it became bogged down in a deep lack of quality full of errors on both sides. Hopes for a goal centred on either a piece of inspiration or a mistake, and 3 minutes before half-time the latter arrived. Fernandes gave the ball away to Pape Sarr, and after the Senegalese briefly loaned it to Richarlison and Rodrigo Bentancur, he swung in a cross towards the darting Johnson, who swiped and flailed at it just enough to discomfort Shaw. The ball struck the United defender's arm and dropped towards goal, seemingly via the faintest touch from Johnson, with Onana unable to claw it away. Goal. Not the prettiest one you've ever seen in a European final, but Spurs didn't care. They had something to hold on to now. But while they would have perhaps expected an onslaught at the start of the second half, one never really arrived. Attempts to progress the ball ended up being stifled by the hard-working Spurs midfield and wide players, and the game remained scrappy beyond the hour mark. United weren't creating anything, and indeed, their most dangerous outlet was proving to be Vicario. The Spurs goalkeeper got in a muddle with Dominic Solanke from a Fernandes free kick, but Højlund's goal-bound header was acrobatically and brilliantly cleared off the line by Van der Ven. Ruben Amorim eventually turned to his bench to introduce Joshua Zirkzee and Alejandro Garnacho. And suddenly, there was a greater threat going forward. Fernandes headed just wide, and you knew more chances were coming. Garnacho brought a sharp stop from Vicario, but it was all so poor from United, and as Harry Maguire moved into the centre-forward position as an act of desperation, Vicario saved well late on from Luke Shaw. Spurs eventually emerged as winners of the slugfest, and will quickly forget just how they did it.